What's going on, guys? Miami here with JST, and today I want to talk about 5 things I feel like I was wrong about that I've talked about on this channel. Yeah, I know it's kind of crazy to feel like you're contradicting yourself sometimes, but the reality is I've just grown and I've learned. After doing videos for 4 years, there's some things that I no longer do, or things that I have alternatives or better ideas for. People will go back to a video and be like, you said this, like this is the law of what you've done. Like now I've been doing it all this time and you're gonna say that wasn't the right way. Well, at the time I felt it was the right way, and it also probably is a viable way to do it. But there's always a better way to do something. So as music evolves and techniques evolve, we're going to evolve with our thought process. And by the end of this video, hopefully some of the things I've updated on my mixing style will help you guys in your journey for creating the perfect mix. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers, by the way, so make sure you hit that subscribe button, notification bell, and of course, give it a like if you're enjoying the content so far. By the way, throughout this video, I'm going to be using a new song that I recently worked on called What's Good by Darrow. Number 1, doubling vocals on your verses. I'm no longer doubling vocals. I don't feel that there's a need to do that. What I have switched to now is making sure I have a really strong main take and using parallel compression. When you get somebody to emote perfectly in one take, and then you try to get them to double the thing that they did, all those little intricacies that made that take feel raw and emotional, it never really works out perfectly. And what it does is it kind of smears and muddies up that main take to me. So instead of doing that now, if I want to have that feeling, what I'll do is I'll use parallel compression on that main vocal, and then I might take that parallel compressed vocal and add a little bit of like a multiplier to it or something to give it a little bit more of a spreading feel.
Notice me, I'm invisible, is that how it's supposed to be? To you and everyone that's close to me. Notice me, I'm invisible, is that how it's supposed to be? To you and everyone that's close to me. Notice me, I'm invisible, is that how it's supposed to be? To you and everyone that's close to me. Notice me, I'm invisible, is that how it's supposed to be? To you and everyone that's close to me.
I just think that it muddies up your mix whenever you're doubling vocals. This is something funny because this is my thoughts, and you know, everyone has different ideas on this kind of thing. Joey has different ideas, Howard has different ideas, and we talk about this stuff from time to time. Like, some people think it's great to tune your main vocal extra hard and then leave the backgrounds loose, and some people think it's important to leave the main vocal loose and tune the background, so that kind of thing. But with doubling vocals, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about and why I feel that parallel compression is enough to give it the punch to soar through a verse. And just to clarify, I still think it's cool to triple up your choruses so you can spread it out. I think that sounds great. Number 2, fixing the song with EQ instead of arrangement. Like, obviously you have to EQ your song, but when you have a song that doesn't have things changing often, or parts aren't pulling in and coming in and out, you have this static track. And one thing that really showcases this well is hip hop, right? They'll have like kick, snare, hi-hat, some perks, then they'll have like a bass line, a melody line, and maybe another melody line. And they will bring just these elements in and out. They'll have the vocal there. I forgot vocal. They'll have the vocal there, and they'll have a finger snap with it. Then all of a sudden they'll add a bass with that finger snap. Then all of a sudden the whole drum kit will come in. Then they'll have the drum kit going, but they'll take the snap out. Then they'll add the melody line in. It's not a lot of elements, but when you do it the right way and you're using panning effectively, you don't have to worry so much about like making a song move through different parts with EQ. The song has to be EQ'd anyways, but that's just my take on it now. And here's an example of that. Here's a section of this song that was thought of carefully by having parts coming in and out and moving so that the song would pull. That's what it's all about, man.
kick again, put down, put my foot down. Got real bad. I'ma show 'em what's good. From the East Coast to LA.
Number 3, probably gonna get flamed pretty hard for this one. Using real drums. Unless you have the best drum facilities in the world and you have the greatest drum tuners and you have been tracking drums for years, you're not gonna get a better sound.
Notice me, I'm invisible, is that how it's supposed? My room on the weekend, wondering what you were thinking.
There's just no way that it's possible. But one thing I would do if I had the option all the time is I would use real cymbals. I think that that is what the important thing is to give the energy to a mix. The kick and the snare, it's like, whatever. Like, obviously you want to mess with the velocities of that stuff to kind of make it feel like it's moving, but the cymbals are what's really pushing everything, in my opinion. So in this song, once again, when I was testing it, I'm like, I didn't want to record real drums for it. We used fake drums as a placeholder, and we were gonna track drums, and it was gonna be really expensive, and then we're gonna have to charge to edit and do all that stuff. And like, I didn't want to do that to the boy. The song was great. We worked on it. We wrote it together. I didn't want that to happen for him, and it came out great regardless. So I changed my philosophy on that because I used to preach something a little different. And maybe that's because it's part of the growing pains of wanting to learn how to do something. Does that mean that you shouldn't learn how to track drums? No, of course you should. Of course you should know how to mic a kit. Of course you should understand phase and understand, most importantly, when it comes to drums, is getting the stereo image correct. That's everything, like with your spots and with your overheads and making sure that everything feels like you're moving around in it, like it's 3D. But yeah, like in this song, it didn't need that. Personally, just for me, I don't have the facility or the means to do that kind of thing or to create that kind of production. So we're getting by with what we got to do. And as somebody that's back to working in a bedroom or going out and renting studios again, I just don't think it's super necessary. Now on to number 4, relying on guitars more than bass. And yeah, you can take the guitar out of a song, but you can't take the bass and lose those subs. And we can't lose any more subs. We need to gain subs. We need to gain like 500 something subs, I think, right now, by the time this is uploaded, to get us to 100,000. Put us on the map. We're looking for that silver button. Hook your boys up. We've been doing this a long time. Honestly, yeah, we love you guys. So, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and like if you're enjoying the content. Transition game's still crazy. And my transition for 100,000 is going to be crazy. So just wait for that. Which is kind of an interesting thing, right? I was so obsessed with guitar tone, and I spent years with every amplifier. Like, if you guys remember, you used to see how many amps I had, right? Like, it was 5150, 5152, 5153, Orange Rock Reverb, OR30, OR15, different Bogner, and I had multiple Bogners. I had the Shiva, had the Alchemist. That one wasn't too great. JCM 800, JCM 2000, Mesa Dual Rec. After having all these things, what you kind of learn is that the bass is what's making up the majority of what's happening here. And in a song, in a verse, for example, you can carry the song with bass in the verse, but not having bass in a verse and just using guitars, it doesn't necessarily work. So like my mind and thought process on that has changed also, that now I focus a lot more on my bass tones and making sure those are perfect. And I've spent a lot of time making videos on that stuff. Some of my biggest videos are related to bass, and it's great that people have found use for that stuff. So, and number 5, using the same guitar tone throughout a song. This is something that I had to learn the hard way, because I would take a guitar tone and I would think that that was everything, just like I was telling you before, and it would just be the tone for the song. But you learn that different tones and changing things slightly make big impacts. Even changing the gain structure of how stuff is happening throughout the song. Um, Adding boost pedals as certain sections in the song to emphasize things. These are things that I've learned throughout time. It's not like I never did that stuff before, but I didn't realize how integral it was to the movement of the song. And now when I'm writing a song, I'm almost thinking like, okay, well, what kind of tone do I want to have in this part to emote this thing? What type of tone should I have in this bridge so that it feels the way that I want and so that it matches what's happening? And this is pretty much the way that my mind has been going now. The more that I've been a rock producer and the more that I've focused on each and every part of the song feeling like a hook, it's my mindset is very different. Before, all I ever thought was, we got to make the mix sound good. We got to make the mix sound good. Well, once you learn how to make a mix sound good, then what? Right? And that's where I'm at after all this time. So those are the biggest things that I've learned about mixing throughout this time. And it's been huge for me. I think if I was going to mention one last thing, even though, sometimes I'll give you guys a bonus one. It's just like, doesn't matter how good of a mixer you are. If a song is boring, it's boring. Stop taking work on boring music or help write the music. If you really need the money per se, and you're just mixing because like it's just for a job and you need to keep going, sometimes think of it this way. Sometimes take a bit of a reduced rate or keep the rate the same and offer to help with the song writing a little bit. Offer to make some changes to it to get it to where it needs to be, because it's not helping you and it's not helping anyone that's listening to it, and it's not helping the artist at the point of where they're at. And that's some of the stuff that I've learned after feeling like I have songs that have the perfect guitar tone or the greatest snares, drum sound, the greatest bass tone, the greatest vocal chain. Where's the song? So, yep, those are my thoughts today. And, I hope we get back to doing stuff like this again, because this is what I consider to be fun. If there's anything you guys really want help with, though, like you're not understanding like your compression or how to make songs move, or you're not understanding EQ or phase or whatever, leave it in the comments and I will get back to you guys like I always do. Catch you guys next time.